all the students. Today I am in the lap of nature because of the demand of the subject of education, subject of learning, subject of listen that I am going to deliver to you. Today's subject is a poem, the poem which is associated with nature, and this poem is found in the syllabi of class 11 of Westbengal board, and the poem is Upon Westminister Bridge. This poem is written by William Wordsworth, the great poet. William Wordsworth is concerned with nature. All his poems deal with nature, the spiritual effect of nature upon human beings. Upon Westminster Bridge is a romantic poem, and a romantic poem deals with nature. This poem is written in Petrarchan form. This is a sonnet. This poem is a sonnet, and this Wordsworth written the sonnet in the form of Petrarchan mechanism. So let us start. Let us see what does the poet tell about. What do we get from this poem? Here the poem starts, and this poem, when the poet was crossing the bridge of Westminster in the very early morning, and he was going to France with his sister Dorothy, he sees a beautiful spectacle of London. He sees the beautiful spectacle of London, and he is mesmerized and overwhelmed with the beauty, with the calm beauty of London. Then he writes down the poem. So let us see what does the poem tell about. Earth has not anything to show more fair. এখানে Wordsworth has completely lauded the beauty of London. Wordsworth has said that he has not seen such a beautiful spectacle, beautiful sight of nature. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by. সে হবে নিরস, যা তার মধ্যে থাকবে না কোনো সেন্স অ্যান্ড সেন্সিবিলিটি, অ্যাস্থেটিক বিউটি। এখানে অ্যাস্থেটিক বিউটির কথা বলা হয়েছে, যে এত সুন্দর, দ্য পারসনস হু উইল পাস বাই দ্য সাইট উইদাউট perceiving the calm beauty of the morning London. A sight so touching. Wordsworth has said that this sight is very touching in its majesty. The sight itself is very magical. It has its own glory and own beauty. The sight is morning London. The poet watches the scene. City now doth like a garment wear. কবি এখানে তুলনা করেছে, এখানে সিমিলি ব্যবহার করেছে, লাইক এ গার্মেন্ট উইয়ার। দিস সিটি নাও ডথ লাইক এ গার্মেন্ট উইয়ার। কবি এখানে তুলনা করেছে যে শহরটা, দ্য সিটি হ্যাজ ওন এ গার্মেন্ট, এ ড্রেস অফ বিউটি অ্যান্ড কামনেস। দ্য বিউটি অফ দ্য মর্নিং সাইলেন্ট বেয়ার। কবি বলেছে, দ্য পোয়েট হ্যাজ সেড দ্যাট দ্য মর্নিং ইজ বেয়ার অ্যান্ড সাইলেন্ট, নো ওয়ান ইজ হেয়ার অ্যান্ড দেয়ার. There is no hustle and bustle. Ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples lie. Kobi, now from the Westminster Bridge, from the bridge, the poet sees the ships, the buildings, towers, domes, theatres, and temples. Open unto the fields. এবার কি করলো কবি? The poet merges the nature and man-made nature, real nature and man-made nature, upon unto the fields and to the sky. কবি দূর থেকে দেখছে, the poet is watching that all the architectures created by man are merging with the beauties of nature, bright and glittering. এবং কবি এখানে বর্ণনা করছে all the architecture glitterings things are looking bright and glittering in the smokeless air. It is so bright that the morning is so clear that everything is looking bright and glittering. The poet has mentioned it in this poem. Never did sun more beautiful steep. কবি এখানে আবার তুলনা করেছে, আবার এক্সল্টেড করেছে the sunটাকে. Sun, the poet has never seen the sun to shine in such a way, in such beautiful way, in its vast splendor. And the poet is saying that This is the first splendor of sun that is pouring in, that is falling upon the city, that is falling upon the city, valley, rock or hill. কবি আবার নিয়ে চলে আসলো প্রকৃতির এলিমেন্টসগুলোকে, ভ্যালি, রক অ্যান্ড হিল, যা যা কবি দেখছে, whatever he is watching, he has brought it in the poem. The elements of nature, the natural elements. Never saw I, আমি কবি বলছে never saw I, কখনো আমি দেখিনি, never felt, কখনো আমি অনুভব করিনি, a calm so deep, নিস্তব্ধতা, এরকম নিস্তব্ধতা আমি কখনো দেখিনি এবং কখনো অনুভব করিনি। Next, the river glided at his own sweet will. Bridge নিচ দিয়ে the river is flowing, the river Thames. The poet has pictured the sight of the river of Thames in the poem, in this sonnet, and the river is flowing gently in its own sweet will. নিস্তব্ধভাবে নদী বয়ে যাচ্ছে। Dear God, now the poet gives his gratitude to God for such scenic beauty, for such serene, calm and tranquil beauty of the morning London, that he is blessed. He thinks that he is blessed with this gift of nature, and that's why he offers his gratitude to God. The very houses seem asleep. Offers his gratitude to God and says that the houses here and there have not waked up till now. Next line, the last line, and all that mighty heart is lying still. All that mighty heart is lying still. That means all that mighty heart means the great London. The great London is compared to the mighty heart. That means London is a very busy town, and that's why London is compared to the mighty heart, the giant London. Here Wordsworth compares. So this is the analysis and explanation of the poem. And I advise you and suggest you to go through the poem thoroughly. Don't try to memorize the questions without going through the poem, without going through any text thoroughly. And everything is in the text, everything is in the context. Try to understand, always try to understand the concept of the subject. Here Wordsworth has cocktailed the nature and man-made nature. The nature and man-made nature. এখানে man-made natures কি? Towers, ships, domes, theaters, temples. And natures কি? The sun, sky, hill, rock, river. Both have been cocktailed. We cannot live without the spontaneity, without the spirit of nature. However, we have developed so much in the field of technology and science. If we discard the nature, if we discard modern nature, we will go to destruction. All the great persons have promoted this philosophy to us, but we are cutting down, we are destroying our mother nature. Okay, this is my explanation. Those who are new to my channel, subscribe and press the bell icon to get the further notification earliest. Be happy and be blessed by God.